Hello and welcome in. I am MissKinghorn and we are back here in The Sims 4, and this week we are building a cottage, kind of a stone and sort of wooden cottage in a, I think it's had bits of it modernised, but it's not like totally sort of modern. There are older aspects to it, and I've got to be honest, if I could live in any of my Sims houses, this would probably be one of them. This is totally my style, and this is what I want. Yeah, if I could have any home, or if I could recreate any home, this is definitely what I would do. And actually, this is a floor plan, so this is from an actual company that builds or has like architects, and they actually design all these and then they can build them as well. So definitely keeping an eye out for those if I ever get into a position where I can build my own home, because this is definitely it. So this is a 4-bedroom family home. It does only have 2 bathrooms, but it does have like a sort of a downstairs sort of toilet area in there as well. I do cut out a lot of this because you know me, I record everything and then I cut most of it. So you'll see like the landscaping is suddenly done, and I did want to keep it in, but honestly it was gonna take too long and this video would have been like an hour, and that is not what we want at all. So these are kind of the colours we've gone for in here. So it's got that sort of stone sort of base to it, and then the dark wood sort of like, I think they're like shingles, they're kind of like roof tiles that came with cats and dogs. I actually really like those in here as well, and I think that sort of wood sort of tone, it works really well, and we keep that dark wood coming through in here. Now I could not decide on a colour for these windows. I went through pretty much every single swatch trying to come up with a colour scheme for this where it worked in some form of nicety. So we did end up going with the darker sort of windows and then a slightly lighter door because they don't actually match. I don't know if that was done on purpose by the team. Part of me hopes it is, but part of me probably suspects it wasn't into here. So you only see me decorating the front of this house, so we've already done the columns, but they go all the way around, and the same with windows and everything like that. But yes, most of this is just the sort of front, because otherwise we'll be here forever in there. Right then, there is a lot of cottage living in here, as well as the new horse ranch packs as well. So yeah, I think this home is coming together really well in here. So a little bit of a chimney, and that's down in the living room, and now we're into the interior. So this is the main sort of entrance, sort of lobby hallway in here. Basically has lots of doors coming up of it to get to the main house, and the stairs in here. So I do go for this red swatch for the first lot, and then I do actually change it later on in here. Now I've only just really found this out, and maybe that's a bad thing, that a lot of the items that are like stuck to the wall, so like the Dream Home Decorator wardrobes and stuff, they actually don't come up when you download this from the gallery, or only sometimes possibly. I don't know, I don't seem to have a problem with it, but I know that there is a bug of some description like that going on, so that's obviously something to be advised there, that they may actually disappear later on. I think they're the only ones I use in this whole house, but anyway, we will deal with that. If they do, then do let me know. It seems a bit of a weird bug, I don't know why. I know sometimes if you like have a wall and you then like delete it might delete certain things that are like attached to walls elsewhere, and the same with like recolouring the wallpaper and stuff afterwards. Sometimes that can remove some of the items that are attached to the wall, but it's the first time I've heard that they disappear as well, so I don't know why. Into here, but we're very quickly finishing up here. It seems like a really big room, and it is. I could have made it slightly smaller, but as I say, I was going off of a floor plan, and this was kind of the floor plan sort of size, so I just rolled with it, and I think it works out pretty well. It seems like a nice area where you can kind of have maybe like a few friends coming over. You've got like areas of coats, sort of things like that, and you can sort of mingle in there before you sort of go into the rest of the house, and it's just sort of open space to do things. Maybe if you've got one of the after school projects, something like that, that could fit in there as well. This is the kitchen. This is the area that I really did modernise. It's kind of a bit of an all-in-one room, this, because although it has the kitchen at this end, it does have the dining room, and then there is a small little like sofa kind of seating area at the back, which you'll see in there, especially more in the screenshots, but it's not the sort of proper living area, sort of TV room that is in a other side of the house in here. So this doesn't have the fridge freezer in it. That is actually in the utility room, which I did record and then probably cut all it out. So you saw that when we were doing the wallpaper on the outside, there's that sort of lower section off to the side that actually has a utility room in it, so the washing machines and the fridge freezer and things like that. There is also a kind of a nectar store, so it has like all of the coolers and storage racks for all of that, and also that's where the toilet is downstairs as well, so you just have to pop in there as well. So it's really good for like gameplay and things like that. I thought that would be a really nice little area where your Sims can do all of that sort of stuff hidden out the way. But this kitchen is very white. I went through lots of swatches and lots of different ideas and colour schemes, and went back to that sort of white look that we have here. I thought that this area was going to be like a really sort of a modern kind of aspect to this whole big build, so that's what we have got in here. And I've gone very sort of, although I have put clutter in here, I think it's very minimalist. It's little clutter. It's clutter that makes sense, rather than me just cluttering everything everywhere and none of the counters working. There are lots of counters in here that do actually work really well in there. Now this is the dining room sort of aspect to this big space in here, and trying to keep it in with that sort of dark tones that we've got coming through this house. So you often see, I was going to go for a very green look in here, but then I thought red, and then we've ended up going for green. Now I love this colour. This is my colour. This dark sort of forest green is, yeah, it's my colour. Into here, I use it all the time, but I actually didn't notice that the chairs came in that sort of swatch, so I was loving the fact that we can do that, and it works so well with that sort of darker wood. So it is boiling hot here in the UK at the moment, so I'm just having a little sip of juice. You never would have thought it's September, yet we are basking in a heat wave here, and yeah, it is hot. But this here is the office area, so I thought that maybe the dad in this household that I had in my mind was a businessman or something like that. He owned his own sort of company, and he had his own little office at home for doing all of those sort of video calls and things like that that we are all so well used to at the moment in here, and just a nice little space in here which he can work in. And obviously it has those big bookshelves sort of as the back as well, and yeah, you can see a sneak little peek of the outside area. So that's just like an alfresco sort of dining area. It's not covered, but it sort of fits in quite well. There wasn't much space for any sort of landscaping, so there's a couple of areas where I have planted it up, mostly at the front, but there's one sort of at the back sort of side by the sort of utility kind of kitchen dining room that there's like a little corner there. I sort of planted that up a little bit more, but then that leads to the sort of terrace area where, as I say, you've got the dining table out there. You've also got a couple of sun lounges, and that's really all there is. There is obviously some striped grass around and a little fence with some overgrowing kind of grasses and some plants just sort of coming through there a little bit as well. And there is one of the planting areas that I showed you, but this is the dining no, we've done that. Living areas into here. Now, this was a bit of a big room, and it's a bit of an odd one because you've got the fireplace on one side, you've got patio doors leading out to the garden out to one side, and you've also got a big archway on the other. So trying to find an area where I could put a whole sort of TV unit in and get all of that in was quite difficult. I was going to do it focusing on the fireplace, and that's why you'll sort of see that some of the items were already here, but I ended up changing it around because it just wouldn't work. That way that the TV would be too high and you just wouldn't be able to see it and things like that. So I thought we'll have to go over on this side, and I think it works over here. Okay, it kind of has like a big sort of walking area around the outside of it, but I feel like that's okay. I have play tested this house as well, so your Sims can use everything that they need to, so they can get into bed, they can use the kitchen, they can do all of that in here, and there are spaces where they can walk around. Some places I have chosen sort of style over walking areas, but they can still access everything, so that's fine into here. And then I thought, what do I put on these other side here? I've kind of got these beams going over the top which work brilliantly, but I needed something on that wall. So instead of having like artwork, which I feel like I use all the time, I have gone for these sort of wardrobes in here, which fitted in maybe as like extra storage. They could be just like spaces where you could hide lots of sort of your family sort of clutter that you have around here as well. And then that is the downstairs all done. So we are speeding on up to this top hallway. Now I have set this out as obviously a couple in the main bedroom, and then they have 3 children. So there are 2 teenagers. One is very much a girl's bedroom. It's kind of lots of reds, lots of golds. While the other one is a kind of a blue, sporty, kind of football, soccer, mad kind of room. And then there is a little bit more of a neutral sort of a kid's bedroom in sort of that small little space. I wasn't overly sure whether to do it as like a nursery or a kid's room, but I thought if I'm doing teens, having that sort of big age drop from a teenager to an infant or toddler was a little bit too big, so I went for a kid in here. And then that's why this area over here is kind of filled with lots of sort of artwork and stuff like that for the sort of family. It's a little bit more of a private space upstairs where I can kind of put lots of this sort of stuff and get it in there like that, so that they can have sort of their time, whereas maybe downstairs you might have visitors coming in and you don't really want to see it, that sort of thing. But this here is the main bedroom, so there is a little balcony out through those big patio doors. It's quite simple and small. It's just like a 1 sort of by 5 sort of strip across the top, and it is covered by a roof as well, so it's a nice little private area. There is nothing out there, it's just kind of a little bit of a walking sort of area, maybe if you want to just sort of look out over your garden, that sort of thing, into here. But again, this was a kind of a little bit of a strange one because I have the columns, and the columns actually run all the way through this house. It was quite difficult to actually kind of place furniture around them, so you often see like the bed is slightly clipping into the windows and that, but I think by using that sort of big artwork sort of wall piece in there as kind of a cover for the bottom of the window, and then the bed in there as well, it works out really well in there. And then this wardrobe, I didn't actually realise this wardrobe was sort of like modular. It kind of fits really well all together like that, and I think like it gives it that sort of big look in there that I was really wanting. And the main bedroom does have an ensuite, you can just see that off to the right in there as well. But this is the kids' bedroom, and yeah, I change a lot of this. I think I spent more time actually on these 4 bedrooms than I did on the downstairs. For some reason, I just could not get these rooms to work, to look right colour-wise, style-wise. I was just all over the place. So yeah, but yeah, this is the bed that we finally go for in here, and because it's such a small room and it has that beam going through it, it was difficult to actually place anything. But I feel like it's really nice, sort of a neutral. I've gone for sort of like a cool sort of blue, like maybe a light green kind of look, and it works out really, really well in here. At least I think so. But let me know in the comments what you think. Is this your kind of home? Is this somewhere you would live, or is this somewhere that you would pass up? Do let me know. Alright, so I love this wardrobe because it's so small. It fits in pretty much everywhere, which is really what I wanted for this room, because it is small, and by placing the bed kind of like in the middle, it kind of gives you the option to use both sides of it. And it's not something I tend to do, because I feel like I usually shove it into a corner somewhere and kind of have it as like a part of the room but kind of forgotten. So by having it a little bit more in the middle, it made it a little bit more challenging, but I actually quite like it how we did that. So yes, this is this room pretty much all done. So a little bit more artwork going on in here, and a little bit of a nice little mirror in here too. And then this is the teenage girl's bedroom. So I really wanted the book red, but I kind of went through like every colour, every combination, before we even got here in the end. And one thing I was actually shocked at is that we don't have a matching red chair for this bed from high school. I think this bed's from, yeah. And yeah, I was a bit shocked that we didn't actually have one, because I always thought that we kind of did have a lot of matching stuff for sort of the sets that we got in here. So obviously I think with high school we got like 3 bedroom sets, but we don't have a matching chair for this colour. So I ended up having to use that sort of book nook, sort of fluffy white one, which again I totally love. I've got to be honest, I do really like that rug in there. And yes, going for a little bit more sort of a neutral white rug underneath here as well, just to kind of match that all in as well. And then lots of sort of colour, and then realising if I use the book nook, which I've not used throughout the rest of the house, I need to use a little bit more of it, because as you always know, and now if it doesn't have like maybe 2 or 3 items from a specific pack, I tend to then like find an alternative. So I do try to limit the amount of packs that I use that way. Sometimes it can work, other times I just have to go for it because there's no alternatives. But if I can find something else, I definitely will do into here. So this is sort of desk area coming into here. Now I thought it might be a little bit of a streamer, like a bit of a gamer into here, or I did end up putting a lot of sort of musical things in here as well. So maybe she's like makes her own music on the computer, that sort of thing, and like records it, that sort of thing. So that's kind of what I was going for with this sort of room into here. But I was struggling with this mirror. I wanted it at like a 45-degree angle, but it sticks to the wall, so I ended up having to use a tool just to sort of move that into the right sort of place and get it to fit in there. Right, so yes, a couple of little plants here and there as well, just to make it a little bit more kind of nice in here. And then we use these big sort of, I don't necessarily know what you would call them, they're kind of like lights that go over the bed. Whether they have like an actual proper name, I don't know, but like canopies, they do look pretty cool in here. So that's kind of what I was going for with that, is a very sort of nice little detail, and then lots of sort of musical artwork. So some pieces there made on vinyls, and I did put a little guitar in there as well for them, so say making sort of music in there kind of on the computer or in sort of with the instruments and stuff like that. That's kind of what I was thinking as well in there. And then this is the boys' bedroom or teenage bedroom. There is also another bathroom next door, you can just sort of see it in the top left in there as well. So that's got all of the bits that you need in here as well. So there is a bath and there is a shower in here, and there is actually the same in the ensuite as well. So you've kind of got all of those pieces covered, and then I think downstairs it's just a sink and a toilet. So, but then that's all you really need in here. I feel like maybe the 3 children sort of share this bathroom, which may get a little bit hectic, but there was only 2 bathrooms on the floor plan, so that's kind of what I went with in here. I couldn't really make out any others, so that's just what we did. And yeah, as I say, this room is going to be very sort of sporty. It's a kind of an athletic kind of person, maybe running or, as I say, football in here as well. And then lots of sort of blue hints coming through as well in there. But because this was a bit of an odd shape, because they had that sort of diagonal wall piece as well, I felt like we needed to make something of that. So I've put one of the wardrobes in here. And this does actually have 2 wardrobes, kind of dressers as they're called in game, but you can access both of them, so that's fine in here. And then a little bit of a messy desk. Obviously I thought this one might be like a slightly younger sort of teen, so they have like a hand-me-down sort of computer into there rather than the sort of more modern sort of one that the older teen has, because maybe they've worked for it or they're making some sort of money somehow and maybe just have a better computer in there, being the sort of first child as well. But we are very, very quickly wrapping up this video. So if you have enjoyed this video, or this build, then please give it a big thumbs up and a comment down below. You can also subscribe here on my channel. You would all mean so very, very much to me. But you can find me pretty much on all social medias. So Twitter, Discord, Instagram, Threads, all of the links to those are down in the description as well. So you can follow me there as well. And yeah, we'll be back next week with another video. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing yet, but I don't know, maybe you have an idea or a suggestion as well. Maybe you have a family you would like me to build a house for, then do comment down below or on any of the social medias into there. But for now, I shall leave you here with the screenshots. But until next time, alright, stay happy and stay building. Bye everyone!